So Carbon Stryke arrows, adjustability, you're really spoiled for adjustability with these things. They have every degree of freedom that the Chinese carbon arrow bars do. In other words, you can move them further away or closer to the stem as the handlebar allows. But also you have and of course you can adjust the angle you can rotate the bars around the axis of the handlebar. So you can do all those things. That's true for pretty much any clip-on arrow bar. But for these, you also have the additional ability to raise or lower the arm pads. There's some shims under here, so you can make those higher or lower with respect to the handlebar. You can also underneath here there are some bolt holes, so you can move the actual arm pad closer or further away from the stem, from the center line of the handlebar. The carbon arms themselves can be moved in or out to adjust the length of the handlebars, and you can loosen the clamp on these to adjust the angle or rotation of the bars. So you're really spoiled for choice with adjustability on these things, and really it's almost to the point where they're so fiddly, you adjust them and then you get on the road, you have your arms on the handlebar and you're like, oh, the left one's not quite the same as the right one, they're not symmetrical, but you get a lot of adjustability out of these things. That's one nice thing about them. Adjustability is maybe the most restrictive part of these arrow bars. Basically you can move them closer or further away from the stem to adjust maybe the angle of your elbows, and you can rotate them on about the axis of the handlebar to adjust the angle that the bar makes with the horizontal, and that's a bit about it. Now at the time I purchased these, you could pick from 3 different lengths, so 360, 340, and 320. 340 is about, well, that's about 1.5 inches difference. So these are the 360s, which is about 14.5 inches. I'm sorry, I said 1.5 inches difference. Is about 1 inch difference. A little less actually. So these are about 14.5, a little over, and 13.5, and then maybe a little over 12.5 inches. So those are fairly short, but you can make them work. But that's at the time of purchase. You can't adjust anything with the length of the arms after you get them, unless you would just want to cut them off, which is up to you. Profile Design Carbon Stryke arrow bars. They weigh about 518 grams. So that's as is on this bike. Most reported weights that you'll see online are right at or a little bit below 500 grams, let's say 498 or something like that. But as they are here, they weigh 518 grams. Now, so that's with it's got a shim under here to raise the pad width. This is the tallest shim they have, right? So I'm sure that adds weight. But this, although really the only carbon part of this is the arm here, right? The rest of it is pretty solid aluminum. There's some heavier hardware in there, so they're not super light, in my opinion, as arrow bars go. But these, as you see them here, weigh 518 grams. China carbon arrow bars. One thing you say about them is that they are light. You can see in my video where I unboxed these, I did a weigh-in, and as they are here, minus the bar tape, they weighed in at 308 grams. So over 200 grams lighter than the Carbon Stryke arrow bar. So you're starting to talk about some real weight. 200 grams, how much would you pay for taking 200 grams off your frame? It may not surprise you to know that if you put the words profile, design, carbon all into an accurate description of a product, it's going to have a healthy price tag. And these are no exception, even though they're a little out of date. I think you can still buy these retail for $200. Although certainly you can pay more than $200 if that's your goal. I bought these off Craigslist for $50 from like a CBS exec or something. And they can be had in the aftermarket pretty regularly for $100 or maybe a little less, or if you want to be patient, maybe even less than that. And I think that $50 is a pretty good price for these. China Carbon Aero Bar is probably their best feature. Where they really shine is the price. I paid retail $29 and change for this. Shipping was additional, but not as much as you would think, a few bucks. Definitely got the whole thing for less than $40. I checked before I started filming this, and these are still available from the same people I bought these from for a little over $30, like, I don't know, $30 and a quarter. So the price difference is de minimis. You can still get these for a really reasonable price. One thing I will say about the Profile Design Carbon Stryke Aero bars is that the bar ends are non-standard. You can see they kind of have a teardrop shape, good and bad. I'm sure the idea behind the design is it's more aerodynamic, and it kind of has a more ergonomic feel when you grab a hold of it. The bad news is that I'm not sure bar end shifters would fit in here if you're so inclined. I never have been, so it's not that much of a problem for me. And I don't know, I've never tried. Maybe they will fit in there. But anyhow, that's what they look like.